Welcome, everyone. Today, we're diving into a true titan of personal and professional development in this explainer. We're talking about Dale Carnegie's 1936 absolute masterpiece, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Now, you've probably heard the title, right? But the sheer impact of this work is just staggering. We're talking over 30 million copies sold worldwide. And as we're going to see today, the principles packed inside aren't just about, being popular. They're literally an essential playbook for navigating the modern workplace, leading teams, and driving continuous improvement.
John D. Rockefeller actually hit the nail on the head with this. He stated, "The ability to deal with people is as purchasable a commodity as sugar or coffee, and I will pay more for that ability than for any other under the sun." I mean, wow. This perfectly illustrates a core theme from our source material. Your technical skills, yeah, they matter, but they absolutely pale in comparison to your interpersonal skills. Getting along with others is the ultimate asset.
In fact, there's a specific term for this, which brings us to the concept of human engineering. This is basically the idea that success in life is largely influenced by how well we can work and get along with others. This definition comes straight from a brilliant summary provided by Ron Pereira over at Gemba Academy, who actually learned this exact phrase from his father. It sets up the core secret to both personal and professional success perfectly.
So how exactly do we master this? Well, here's our roadmap for today. First, we'll unpack the human engineering secret. Then, handling people with care. Third, ways to make friends. Fourth, winning people over. And finally, fostering workplace success. Let's get right into it.
Part 1. The Human Engineering Secret. Let's explore the origin of this philosophy. To really frame our discussion today, we're drawing heavily from a deeply personal book summary by Ron Pereira. You see, Ron listened to this audiobook during a massive 3,600-mile road trip to visit his father, who unfortunately passed away shortly after. He dedicated this lesson to his dad, who, get this, actually held a PhD and taught at the University of Manitoba for 28 years. Yet despite his father's massive technical education, he was the one who taught Ron that technical skills really only go so far. It's human engineering, how you get along with people, that truly determines your success. Let's look at how this builds into actionable steps.
Moving to Part 2, handling people with care. Because, let's be honest, naturally, we often handle our colleagues pretty poorly.
Carnegie lays out 3 fundamental techniques here. Step 1, don't criticize, condemn, or complain. Carnegie famously noted, if you want to gather honey, don't kick over the beehive. Criticizing someone is absolutely useless because it instantly puts them on the defensive. Step 2 is to give honest, sincere appreciation. And step 3 is to arouse an eager want.
Let's zoom in on step 2 with this incredible quote from industrialist Charles Schwab. He said, "I consider my ability to arouse enthusiasm among my people the greatest asset I possess. I am anxious to praise, but loath to find fault." Schwab basically viewed this approach as his secret weapon. The absolutely crucial point here is that human abilities literally blossom under encouragement, but they completely wither under criticism from superiors. Just remember, this praise has to be specific and straight from the heart. Otherwise, it does way more harm than good.
And what about step 3? Arouse in the other person an eager want. Look, when we face workplace resistance, especially when we're trying to push new improvements, we simply cannot force change onto people. It just doesn't work. You have to put their wants before your own. You've got to see things from their perspective and show them how the change actually benefits them, making them genuinely want to do it. All right, part 3. Ways to make friends. And I want to debunk a myth right here and now. Despite the title, this isn't just about being the most popular person at your neighborhood block party.
It's really about being a welcoming, positive presence at work. Carnegie gives us several practical, behavioral hacks. Honestly, you can make more friends in 2 months by being genuinely interested in others than in 2 years trying to get people interested in you. Action matters. Forcing yourself to smile actually makes you happier and tells people you're legitimately glad to see them. Another vital hack? A person's name is the sweetest and most important sound in any language. Use it, and always make them feel sincerely important.
This brilliantly illustrates the overarching rule. To be interesting, you must be interested. This means being an attentive listener. Ask questions people actually enjoy answering. Encourage them to talk about their accomplishments. And here's a very practical tip from our source. When someone is talking to you, actually look at them instead of staring down at your smartphone. Active listening is literally the ultimate way to show someone they matter.
Part 4. Winning people over. Now we're shifting our focus from simply being likable to becoming truly influential in a professional setting.
Here we run into the great paradox of arguments.
Carnegie advises us to avoid arguments like we would avoid rattlesnakes or earthquakes. Why? Well, because even if you win the logical argument, you lose the relationship. You embarrass the other person, hurt their pride, and make them feel inferior. Sure, you win the facts, but they end up wanting to punch you in the nose. You've built resentment, not influence.
So how do we actually win people over to our way of thinking? Here are the core steps. First, never say you're wrong. It's a direct blow to their intelligence. Second, if you are wrong, admit it quickly and emphatically. And third, always begin in a friendly way, even when a difficult colleague does something to really upset you.
To help with that first step, Carnegie provides this exact brilliant script. I may be wrong. Let's examine the facts. If a colleague says something you absolutely know is incorrect, do not tell them they're wrong. Use this disarming script instead. It shows respect for their opinion, completely removes the defensiveness, and opens the door to collaborative problem solving.
And when it comes to step 2, admitting your own mistakes, the power of doing this quickly and without sugarcoating is profound. The Gemba Academy summary points to a great 2009 example of Toyota's president Watanabe. When the company expected an $8.6 billion loss, he didn't point fingers, he publicly apologized, stating they were lacking in the scope and speed of dealing with problems, and simply said, "For that, I am sorry." That level of contrition built immense trust.
Okay, part 5, fostering workplace success. Let's look at how these timeless principles, highlighted by our source, Marketing Examined, apply directly to modern leadership.
First, a quick reminder. Whether you're practicing Lean, Six Sigma, or general continuous improvement, look, if you can't get along with or positively influence others, none of your tools or methodologies matter. Human cooperation is the foundation of the whole shebang.
To foster that cooperation, Marketing Examined curates a few powerful quotes to live by. First, ask questions instead of giving orders. Shifting your communication style away from demanding and towards inquiring directly empowers your employees. It builds incredible loyalty because it actually respects their autonomy and intellect.
Next quote, "The rare individual who unselfishly tries to serve others has an enormous advantage." The truth is, the workplace is often full of people who are grabbing and self-seeking. By choosing empathy, by putting yourself out there to do things for others that require unselfishness and thoughtfulness, you gain a massive competitive advantage. And our final quote from Carnegie, "Pay less attention to what men say. Just watch what they do. Actions will always speak louder than empty words. A genuine smile, attentive listening, and actually remembering someone's name. Those are actions that communicate your true intent far better than a lengthy speech ever could."
Which brings us to our conclusion. Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with a provocative thought directly inspired by Carnegie's teachings. The next time you're feeling unappreciated or unimportant at work, just pause and ask yourself, how many people have you built up with praise today? Remember, human engineering is a two-way street. If you want to be appreciated, you have to make others feel appreciated first. Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and hey, I challenge you to put these tools to work today.